Good dirt. It's kind of hard to come by. You either pay a lot for it or you work hard for it. I made up some special dirt today. Let me show you what I'm using it for. Today, it's all about planting out some pine trees. These are Afghan pine trees. They grow pretty good, 3 to 5 feet a year. They're drought resistant, hold up in the desert pretty well. Now, the one nice thing about these is I can get them from the state forestry, kind of raise up money for conservation, and they get some really good quality trees. A couple bucks each. Today, I've got a few hundred to plant, so you can tell I'm kind of really into it. Now I'll be using these trees to improve the property, windbreaks, erosion control, and so forth. There's a lot you can do with the trees. Not to mention, I like to get several hundred at a time when I do get them, because not all of them make it. But if you're lucky enough, and a lot make it, you can always sell them for a little bit more than what you paid. Make your money back and then some. I'll do a little close-up of how I actually get these trees in there. And there's a few tricks. There's some you may not have seen before, so hopefully this is worth your time. Now, of course, dirt in the bottom of it. I like to loosen it up a little bit, just kind of break it up. This plastic cones kind of taper in tight, and these roots are really tight in the bottom. You can see them poking out here. So one tip and trick is when you go to pull it out, you want to pull gently, and you want to make sure that bottom root and the hole right there, it's actually sliding out. There you go. You got the whole thing. Now, I've broke a few of them here and there, and they make it about half the rootstock on them, but I'll loosen up the roots, get them down that dirt nice, and I want to keep the crown of it pretty much at the top surface of where it was before. So I'll backfill the dirt around there, just to there. That's about it. Pretty simple. Alright, to make this dirt, in the tractor bucket I'm using my homemade compost mix. It's horse manure that's been at least a couple years seasoned, goat manure, chicken manure, rabbit manure, wood bedding chips and so forth, just a whole lot of things. So leaves in there, and it's all broken down really nice, but it's not very acidic. So to get some acidity in here, and you need acidity for these pines, I'm gonna add some peat moss. In this case it's a pro mix. Why? Well, because at the end of last year's growing season I scored a couple pallets of this stuff for pennies on the dollar. It was worthwhile. So I was able to save a lot of money, put it back, and get a lot of improvements done. Now we're adding the peat moss and so forth. That will increase the acidity. And as I said, you need a lot. So I want to have pretty much a 50-50 mix, or almost a 3/4 peat moss to 1/4 compost mix in this. So it's going to be about 4 or 5 good scoops with the shovel. And I'll add these in half and half as we go. Now one last tip, bleeded iron. There's some more acidity right there. Now I add this to all my large pine trees. I like to get in the soil mixture when I'm starting them off, just to get that base iron going. A little bit goes a long ways. We'll just mix this in really good. Make sure that all little fine particles and so forth, and the bigger clumps are all broken up, and get it to the consistency that I want. Now I'm not doing seeds or anything in this type of mixture. It's a little bit too rough for it, but it is really good for transplanting trees and doing some of your larger pot items. That looks pretty good. One other tip, make sure when you're using this soil mixture, especially peat moss, to pre-soak the pots before you put them out. I'll let them bottom feed from there for a while. Once they've got a nice good amount of water in there and it's dripping out when I pick them up, I'm going to put it over somewhere, in this case north side of my grow house. Got a nice little secure area, it's in the shade, it's nice and cool, and that's where they're going to be for the next year. And there we go, 270 Afghan pines. This took me a couple days to actually get done. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it, because after all, what's better than a tree that's got planted 6, 7, 8 years ago or 20 years ago? The tree you planted today, because one day it's going to grow up just like this one that started out the same way, little tree from the forestry. There you go, to the sky. Y'all stay safe.